PMP exam scenarios. People task. 1. Conflict. Question. During a team meeting, Michael, a team lead, noticed two of his team members arguing about the direction of a project. He immediately intervened and suggested a middle ground solution that partially satisfied both parties. Which conflict resolution strategy did he use? A. Avoiding. B. Accommodating. C. Compromising. D. Collaborating. Take some time to think about the answer. Hit the pause button for more time. All right, here's the answer. Answer: C. Compromising. Rationale. Michael's approach of finding a middle ground solution that partially satisfies both parties aligns with the compromising strategy, where there is a give and take to reach a mutually acceptable solution. As you prepare for your PMP exam, it's crucial to immerse yourself in realistic scenarios, particularly those centered around conflict resolution, a common reality in project management. The scenario provided here is designed to stimulate your strategic thinking and decision-making skills. As it unfolds, consider various questions. What actions should the project manager take in response to this situation? Looking back, what preventive measures or earlier steps could the project manager have taken? In the midst of the conflict, what should be the project manager's immediate priority? Following the initial response, what subsequent steps should the project manager plan for? This exercise aims to align your thought process with the practical challenges you'll face in your role as a project manager. Let's dive in and explore these aspects in detail. PMP exam people, Task 1 scenario, conflict in the workplace. Christina's stomach churned as she stared at the blank email screen. The client's email sat accusingly in her inbox, subject line screaming, "Missing report! Urgent!" Shame coiled in her gut, tightening its grip with each tick of the clock. The report, the cornerstone of their new marketing campaign, lay unfinished on her desk, a monument to miscommunication and missed deadlines. Martha, her ever-so-reliable admin assistant, had come into her office just hours ago, eyes wide with confusion. "The client report? I thought it was due next week?" she'd stammered, clutching the empty file folder. Christina's heart had leaped to her throat. The due date, etched in her calendar in bold red, had somehow slipped her mind during the project's frantic chaos. Now, the consequences were piling up like overdue bills. The phone buzzed, vibrating against the desk like an angry bee. It was Martha, her voice taut with worry. "Christina, the client keeps calling." They're furious. Apparently, this campaign launch depends on that report. Christina squeezed her eyes shut, picturing the angry client, the lost business, the disappointed team. This wasn't just a missed deadline. It was a potential career-defining disaster. Taking a deep breath, she called Martha back. "We need to fix this," she said, her voice firm despite the tremor in her hands. "Can you meet me in my office?" The next few hours were a blur of frantic activity. Christina and Martha dived in, headfirst into the unfinished report, working side by side. Fingers flew across keyboards, phones clattered as calls to stakeholders were made, and apologies spilled out like apologies. Christina swallowed her pride and called the client, taking full responsibility for the mistake. The conversation was tense, but the client, impressed by their immediate action, agreed to a grace period. By midnight, the report was finally complete, a testament to their combined effort. Christina and Martha, both drained but relieved, leaned back in their chairs. A nervous silence hung in the air, the unspoken question of what comes next echoing in the quiet. Christina knew this wasn't just about fixing a mistake. It was about rebuilding trust, both with the client and with Martha. In a quiet voice, she spoke. "I owe you an apology, Martha. Your support and hard work saved the day. This wouldn't have been possible without you." Martha surprised her with a small smile. "We're a team, Christina, and teams make mistakes. What matters is how we learn from them." In that moment, Christina realized that conflict wasn't just about blame and resentment. It could also be an opportunity for growth, a chance to strengthen relationships and build resilience. The missed deadline, with its potential for disaster, had brought Christina and Martha closer together, reminding them of the value of communication, empathy, and shared responsibility. And that, perhaps, was the biggest victory of all. Question: Christina, a project manager in the middle of a heated argument with her admin staff, decided to leave the room in the middle of the conflict as she was not emotionally able to deal with it. Which conflict resolution strategy did she use? A. Compromise, B. Force, or direct, C. Withdrawal, D. Reconcile. Take some time to think about the answer. Hit the pause button for more time. All right, here's the answer. Answer: C. Withdrawal. Rationale. Christina's decision to physically remove herself from the situation, especially due to emotional reasons, aligns with the withdrawal strategy, a form of avoiding conflict by distancing oneself from the situation. The missed deadline mess, untangling miscommunication and rebuilding trust. Let's think. How had this happened? The conflict, a silent storm brewing beneath the surface, stemmed from a tangle of misunderstandings. Lost in the chaos, Christina, swept up in the project's whirlwind, had overlooked the deadline despite it being marked in red on her calendar. Incomplete map. Martha, known for her meticulousness, had been working with unclear instructions and an inaccurate timeline. The power imbalance. Christina, as project manager, held authority, but this could also create barriers to open communication. Organizational climate. How the company typically handled conflict would influence its ability to navigate this challenge effectively. To untangle this mess as a proactive, positive project manager, a clear and collaborative approach was needed. 1. Restoring clear communication. Open and honest conversation. Christina needed to initiate a private, blame-free discussion with Martha to understand her perspective and reconstruct the timeline of events. Setting clear expectations. Together, they needed to establish explicit deadlines, expectations, and feedback loops for future tasks, ensuring everyone was on the same page. 2. Repairing trust and building empathy. Genuine apology. Christina had to acknowledge her role in the missed deadline and express sincere empathy for the stress it caused Martha. Shared responsibility. Both needed to recognize their contributions to the miscommunication and work together to rebuild trust. 3. Learning from mistakes and preventing recurrences. Preventative measures. Implementing systems for tracking deadlines, establishing clear communication protocols, and scheduling regular check-ins could help prevent similar issues in the future. Embracing conflict as an opportunity. Fostering a culture where open communication and constructive conflict resolution are valued could lead to growth and stronger teamwork. Resolving this conflict wasn't just about a report. It was about strengthening relationships and building a more resilient team by prioritizing empathy, understanding, and clear communication. Christina and Martha could transform this misstep into a catalyst for positive change. They could create a more collaborative and supportive work environment where trust, accountability, and shared success thrive. Here's how to approach evaluating options on the PMP exam. Consider whether they propel you forward or, conversely, act as constraints, further complicating the situation and hindering progress. A few closing questions. Question. Sarah, a department head, faced a disagreement with another department over resource allocation. She decided to let the other department have their way, prioritizing the relationship over the issue at hand. Which conflict resolution strategy did she use? A. Competing, B. Avoiding, C. Accommodating, D. Collaborating. Answer. C. Accommodating. Rationale. Sarah's decision to yield to the other department's demands, placing more value on the relationship than on the conflict itself, is indicative of the accommodating strategy. Question. In a project review meeting, Alex, a senior project manager, firmly pushed for his approach despite opposition, insisting that his method was the only viable option. Which conflict resolution strategy did he use? A. Collaborating, B. Forcing, C. Avoiding, D. Compromising. Answer. B. Forcing. Rationale. Alex's insistence on his approach and disregard for opposition aligns with the forcing strategy, where one stands firm on their position and is assertive about their viewpoint. This could also be called directing or competing. Remember that on the exam, you could have questions about conflict from both an agile or hybrid and predictive perspective. Let's explore some easy agile questions about conflict. Question. In a Scrum team, two developers, John and Emma, disagree on the implementation of a feature. The Scrum Master, noticing the tension, organizes a meeting where both developers present their ideas and the team collaboratively decides on the best approach. Which conflict resolution strategy is the Scrum Master employing? A. Avoiding, B. Accommodating, C. Collaborating, D. Competing. Answer. C. Collaborating. Rationale. The Scrum Master's approach of facilitating a meeting where both parties can present their views and the team collaboratively decides aligns with the collaborating strategy. This strategy focuses on working together to find a solution that satisfies all parties involved. Question. During a sprint planning session, a Scrum team member suggests a new feature that would require significant time and resources. The product owner quickly dismisses the idea, stating that it does not align with the current product roadmap. Which conflict resolution strategy is the product owner using? A. Competing, B. Accommodating, C. Collaborating, D. Avoiding. All right, here's the answer. Answer. A. Competing. Rationale. The product owner's immediate dismissal of the idea, prioritizing the product roadmap over the team member's suggestion, is indicative of the competing strategy. This strategy is characterized by assertiveness to enforce one's own position. Question: a Scrum team is divided over which user story to prioritize in the next sprint. The Scrum Master decides to not intervene, allowing the team to resolve the issue among themselves. Which conflict resolution strategy is the Scrum Master employing? A. Avoiding. B. Accommodating. C. Compromising. D. Collaborating. Hit the pause button for more time. All right, here's the answer. Answer: A. Avoiding. Rationale: the Scrum Master's decision to not intervene and let the team members resolve the conflict on their own demonstrates the avoiding strategy. This approach involves stepping back and letting parties handle the conflict independently, often used when the issue is considered minor or when the team is capable of resolving it without external intervention. The Thomas-Kilmann Conflict Mode Instrument, TKI. The Thomas-Kilmann Conflict Mode Instrument, TKI, is a widely used tool for assessing an individual's behavior in conflict situations. Developed by Kenneth W. Thomas and Ralph H. Kilman, the TKI identifies 5 conflict handling styles, one of which is competing or forcing. In the Thomas-Kilmann model, competing is one of the 5 conflict handling modes. The 5 modes are competing, also known as forcing or directing. This mode reflects a high concern for one's own needs and goals and a low concern for the needs of others. People using this style pursue their own concerns at the expense of others, often using power and authority to achieve their objectives. It's a win-lose approach where one party wins and the other loses. The competing style is appropriate in situations where quick, decisive action is needed or when unpopular decisions need to be made. However, it can strain relationships and lead to resentment if overused. In contrast, the other 4 conflict handling styles are collaborating, high concern for both your own needs and the needs of others. This style aims for win-win solutions and involves working together to find a solution that satisfies both parties. Compromising, moderate concern for both your own needs and the needs of others. This style seeks a middle ground where both parties make concessions to reach a mutually acceptable solution. Avoiding, low concern for both your own needs and the needs of others. This style involves withdrawing from the conflict or sidestepping the issue, which may be appropriate when the issue is trivial or when more important issues are pressing. Accommodating, low concern for your own needs and high concern for the needs of others. This style involves self-sacrifice to meet the needs of the other party and maintain harmony in relationships. The key is to use the appropriate conflict handling style based on the specific situation and the people involved. Thanks for joining us today. Like and subscribe.